Hello, and welcome back to Madness in the Method, the greatest Nicolas Cage podcast ever created. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my friend and trusty co-host, Christopher.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Just want to say, don't usually say this in the beginning, but thank you so much for listening, if you're listening. If you're not, I'm not going to thank you. But then you're not going to hear this anyway, so it doesn't matter. And if you want to support this show, even more than just, subscribing on YouTube or following on Spotify or whatever, you should check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene, where you can, once we start uploading these, because we're pre-recording them, you can listen to them in advance. You can also get exclusive episodes of my other podcast, The Spoiler Cast. Literally hundreds of hours of exclusive material. But, enough of that. We have some movies, or at least a movie to discuss, and I want to get it over with, because my god, this might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen. We are talking about the 2018, erotic, in quotation marks, mystery thriller, Between Worlds, starring Nicolas Cage and Franca Potente. If you recall from our last episode, we did read the little blurb on IMDb, and it sounds genuinely exciting. It's a super out of left field weird plot. However, it just evolves into a complete shitfest, in my opinion. But I'm giving away the goodies here, so let's do this the way we're supposed to do. Christopher, had you seen this movie before?
No, not seen or heard of this movie before.
No, me neither. At this point, I'm not even looking at the list until we're at the end of the episode. I'm like, oh, that's the next one. So I had no idea this existed.
But yeah, you were mentioning that, but we were expecting not a lot, but at least a fun time when. That was our expectation based on last episode, or the synopsis of the movie, I guess. Yeah, because the synopsis sounds like it
sounds like it could be exciting. I mean, maybe not good, but at least funny bad. It is.
I don't know if I said that in the last episode, or if it was off air, but it is the first time I read a synopsis where the synopsis has a twist in it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just read it so if people remember. Joe, played by Nicolas Cage, meets a mother who can contact spirits when suffocating. Her daughter is dying when Joe helps the mother spiritually contact the daughter and save her. Unfortunately, the spirit in the daughter's body is now that of Joe's dead wife. Whoa. Yeah. It's a triangle drama involving a mother and daughter, and a ghost. I mean, that's...
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage.
The best part, yeah. It sounds insane.
Yeah. So it sounds like this could be... It will not be a great movie, but it sounds like a wacky fun time, at least.
Yeah. Like a so bad that it's good. A hidden gem,
sort of. And I gotta say, I thought this movie was pretty good.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. It was shit.
Jesus Christ. This was the biggest pile of garbage I've ever seen.
It is not the worst I've seen, and it's not even the worst on the Nicolas Cage list, but it's pretty bad. It's down. It's at the bottom. It is definitely at the bottom.
For me, it's pretty close to the worst. I'm gonna have to look over the list, but this is at least bottom 3 or something.
Yeah. But I think what saves it for me, save is a strong word in this case, but what doesn't give it a 1, if you put it like that, that number 1, I think the music was pretty good.
Yes, music is good.
Music was pretty good. It was used pretty good, and it was interesting songs chosen for interesting moments. I like that. The other one was, it is both a compliment and a. What's the opposite of a compliment? Is it insult?
Insult, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's. I think it's both. That is, it seems very by the books how you film a movie.
Yeah.
which they never did really any mistakes in like framing or lighting or like sets or any of those things. They did that correctly. It was nothing interesting, but they even like used Dutch angles correctly, which nobody ever does. And so they obviously knew what they were doing, but it also looked like they sort of went from they had a cheat sheet of how to use things, which is is a compliment and an insult. But again, that sort of saves it because it doesn't look like shit. I'd say I've seen a lot worse movies in this podcast.
I mean, this looks incredibly cheap.
I didn't think it looked cheap. I didn't think it looked cheap.
Really?
No, I thought the actors and sort of what was happening on the screen was very cheap. But if you actually look on how the camera is set up and the lighting and the set dressing and all of those, I don't think it looks cheap. I just think it is the actors or the direction that makes it feel cheap.
I don't know. I got the feeling this had that shallow, gross, like crispy look of almost looked like it was filmed with a phone camera. There's no life to the picture. Sure, angles and stuff are good, but just the quality of the picture is just awful in my opinion. I thought this was one of the worst looking movies we've seen so far. Yeah.
No, I really completely disagree on that point. Actually,
all right.
I think it looked fine. It looked standard. It looked like a 5 out of 5, look wise. I think.
Okay.
And that sort of saves it. But again, the script, the idea, the acting, the directing. It's why does this? Why? How? When?
Yeah. No, like this is like we said, the premise on paper is interesting, but it just devolves into Nicolas Cage having sex with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And pretty explicitly so sometimes. And I mean, I was thinking about that when I was watching this. This is basically because the plot is so outlandish. But as you're watching it, it really just feels like an excuse to film sex scenes. This is a porno, but with less explicit, but still pretty explicit sex scenes.
Yeah, I would say I haven't read a lot about the movie, but everywhere that I've read about it, it is very much classified as a softcore porn.
Yeah, definitely.
It is. Everyone is on agreement on that. Except IMDb, I guess. But.
Yeah. I mean, if you well, no, because softcore, I don't think you even need to show penetration. So yeah, this is literally softcore pornography.
Yeah.
Because there are so many sex scenes, just for at some points it feels like for no reason. It is just, it is shameless.
Yeah.
I mean, I know exactly why Nicolas Cage took this one. When it was not for the paycheck, it was because he gets to have sex with hot ladies. I mean, that's it. That's it. He doesn't do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
there's nothing else to say. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, because there is, again, as we said, the plot is, I wouldn't say good, or the concept is not good, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they sort of should have made this into... First of all, the biggest issue is that it takes too long for the sort of anything to really happen with the daughter. Because that's like halfway into the movie, when I think she wakes up like halfway in the movie or something.
Yeah.
It's a while into the movie. And then there's a big part of they're living in a family, and then like he losing his truck and things like that. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, so that's one issue. And then there's this... he was too fine with it too fast.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, I'm not whatever the daughter's name was. I'm your wife now. And he's like... okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Let's fuck.
Like the concept of this movie is built around two parts, and that's Joe's mental anguish of how to handle this situation, and is this right, and moral problems, and that he just met a new person, but that wife is back. That thing. That's one part, and the other one is the wife should be the antagonist.
Yeah, which she is.
She sort of, I guess. But we don't have any of these things, because she's a little mean. But that's like a last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, she goes off the rails in the end there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the only way we can live is if we steal these drug dealers' money and run away. It turns out the wife we all like thought was like a loving wife, and he was so sad since he lost his wife and daughter and all that. Turns out no, she was a psychopath. She killed her daughter. It's like, oh, you're gonna tell us that now?
Yeah.
Right before the credits roll? Yeah.
If we made this movie, if we made it a straight up horror movie, I think it could have worked out great.
Yeah.
Like the wife in the daughter's body, just tormenting him while sort of trying to kill the mother or kill people or do weird stuff.
Yeah.
Be a little vengeful, I guess. But no, we have to concentrate on the sex part.
Yeah, because that's what sells tickets, or I guess sells DVDs in this case. But in the same way, I mean, it's not very it's not sexy at all. It's just Nicolas Cage going whoa, 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 whoa on top of ladies. It's just like, oh no, what is happening?
I wouldn't say the sexies. The sexies are when people try to make realistic sex scenes and not make sexy sex scenes, but then they sort of fail at that still.
Yeah,
because there are movies with realistic sex scenes that aren't sexy at all, but they are fun, or they tell us something about the characters, or they have a purpose. In this movie, it's like, we're gonna have sex scenes because that's hot, but we're gonna make it not hot for reasons, for art, I guess.
Yeah.
So I did read a quote from the director and writer, Maria Pulera.
Yeah.
That when she was writing this movie, it started out as a classic thriller.
Sure.
But then, somewhere along in the process, she decided it was going to be more surrealistic. Okay, and I guess that's where the ghost parts came in, I guess. But then she said she wanted to try to make in the style of David Lynch.
Yeah, and that's we should mention that, because we mentioned the music. The music is made by Angelo Badalamenti, who made the music, of course, for Twin Peaks.
So that was like sort of what she was going for, and I think that sort of explains why the sex scenes are as they are.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if David Lynch, he hasn't made a lot of sex scenes, but they are this awkward and weird. But there's usually a reason, and there's usually only one, and very short one at that.
Yeah.
And she sort of missed that in this movie, the point of that. I guess. Yeah.
And also, I except for the music, which does do a lot for the mood, like the actual movie doesn't feel Lynchian at all.
No.
It's way too straightforward. There are no weird characters saying weird things that are vaguely connected to the plot, if even, you know. We needed some weird lady in a cafe going like, "Well, the spiders come out at night, if you know what I mean," or something, you know.
Yeah, but
there's nothing like that.
If you look at the movie thinking that it's someone who tries to make a Lynch movie without really understanding Lynch, it sort of makes sense why it's so weird. Not the sex scenes, but the other things. Because there's a lot of weird interactions and weird acting choices, I guess. Specifically from the daughter. She is very Lynchian in her character. It's like she's just walking around being weird, staring at things, talking weird.
I'll agree very disingenuously, like, sure. I'll say, sure. Because I don't really agree, but I thought she was bad.
Yeah, and
There's a difference between weird and bad.
To be fair, I did not. There was a big stretch of time I didn't like Lynch because I thought it was bad.
Oh, okay.
So that is sort of the Lynch thing, that it is bad, sort of on purpose.
Yeah,
in a way.
Some people would.
Again, that's what I'm saying. If you look at it as someone who tries to make Lynch but don't get it, don't get it, then it makes sense. A lot of the choices. Again, they're not making the choices good at any stretch of the imagination. It's still fucking terrible, but it's an explanation.
It's kind of funny, though, that he was in this movie where they specifically tried to make it Lynchian, while we just watched... Was it it was 2 episodes ago, I think. We watched The Looking Glass.
Oh, yeah.
Which we said felt very Lynchian. Yeah. And, if it was made by a better director, what was it? If it was 5 minutes shorter, it would have been a shorter movie,
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been kind of actually like a decent David Lynch movie. Yeah. This for me didn't feel like Lynch at all, except for the music. Yeah. Imagine the music from Between Worlds in Looking Glass. Then it would almost be a Lynch movie, but bad.
But bad. Again, also just talking about the acting quickly. I guess we usually talk about Nicolas Cage at the end, but I just gotta get it out of there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we move on to the Cage?
Yeah, I think this is one of the best examples I've seen of how you can actually see a good actor being bad.
Yes.
You can see, because both Nicolas Cage and Frank
Potenta, yes.
They're both really good actors, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can sort of see it in their eyes that they are not happy with the performance they're giving, and that they are. The feeling I get is they got the very specific instructions by the director how to act. They'd follow those instructions, and then you can almost see when the instructions end and they sort of go back to acting normally, because at points they are good. So
sure.
At the end of scenes, they are good. You can say when they deliver lines weirdly and crazy, and then when they stop delivering lines, they are supposed to walk somewhere or bring forth an emotion. All of a sudden, they're great actors.
Yeah.
It's so weird to see. Because usually it's bad all through, not like here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, this must have been one of those... Nicolas Cage has done a lot of these kinds of movies, cheapo movies. I don't know if Frank Potenta has. It must have been in one of those, what the fuck am I... How did I end up here feelings? Yeah. When they're on set, they read the script and sounds interesting, and then they're just like... Oh, what is this rinky-dink production? What am I doing here? No! And then also, I don't know if that's discussed anywhere, but the whole thing that she must, she needs to be near death to be able to contact the spirit world. But in the movie, they choose, choking. I get the feeling, since this is already a very horny movie, I get the feeling, because it was the director, whatever her name was, who wrote this as well.
Yeah, Maria Pulera.
Right. She must have a choking fetish, because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was so gross the way they did it. I don't know. I got the feeling she was like, yeah, choke her, Nicholas, choke her.
Yeah.
I don't want to kink shame, but it felt gross.
Also, that they had to pick her up from the ground every time.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, like you can do it if it's just to help her contact the spirit world. You can do it much more gently than that.
Yeah,
it was just strange.
Yeah, and also it's so weirdly specific and not used. Mm-hmm. We see it twice at the beginning of the movie, and once at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it's never mentioned ever again.
Yeah.
Because that could also have been a big thing to explore. Why did this come from? Is this something... Oh yeah, the witch doctor? Which is... Witch, doctor?
I barely remember. I saw this movie a week ago.
Okay, the person at the hospital who was like, "Oh, you know what you were doing."
Yeah,
it's like, okay, so this is a thing in the world. Is this?
No, she's in contact. She has voodoo things, whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was the part that was kind of interesting. They should have spun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They obviously have. There's an idea here. There's a world here. There are things. This is not like a freak thing that happened to specifically her. No, this is like a thing with the spirit world, and we have people who know about it and how it works. And should we explore this? Should we talk about this? No, never mind. Just never mind.
Also, the fact that this is mainly from Nicolas Cage, from Joe's point of view, makes it less interesting. Imagine if we saw this from Franca Potente's character, Julie. If we saw it from her perspective, maybe even we're there when she discovered this this power, and how she she has to deal with it. Like, I'm risking my life every time, but it's also a way to help spirits cross over or whatever. But no, instead it's a guy who just discovers it and then has to choke her and have sex with her. It's all wrong. Everything's wrong.
Yeah. I mean that's true. This movie could have been very interesting if she was the main character.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage / Joe is just a guy who appears.
Yeah, exactly.
To not see his emotional arc and only see the mother or Julie's emotional arc. That would have been interesting to see.
Yeah.
Specifically, since he's gonna go just buy it as soon as daughter says it. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting ideas here, but as soon as the pen hit the paper, everything went wrong.
Yeah.
And from there to release, there was nothing good happened.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone was like, Maria Polaire, she was at like a dinner or something with friends. It's like, I have this idea for a movie. And like, oh, it sounds really interesting. You should write it. And she's like, yeah. And then I was like, fuck, when she was done. Oh, shit.
Oh, shouldn't have wrote it.
What did I do? Oh, no. Oh, well, I'll film it. I'll just insert more sex scenes. People like sex, right?
And I think it's because she's only done 2 movies.
Yeah.
Like, at all, in any capacity. She's not like a writer or a producer or anything for anything. She's done 2
just
things.
Made 2 movies, yeah. And she's the director, writer, and producer for both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both... The first one, Falsely Accused, is 3.4 score. This one's 3.9.
Ooh.
It's... Maybe you shouldn't do movies.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you should do something else. Actually, I didn't look at this before. The tagline is, there's a fine line between pleasure and pain. So, yeah, she has a choking fetish.
Yeah, but that is not what the movie is about.
No, I know.
It's not at all.
Oh, God. Oh! We should talk more specifically about Nicolas Cage, though.
All right.
Because some people, I looked this up on Letterboxd, and some people say this is like a pretty good Rage Cage performance, and I fucking disagree.
Yeah, we had a few Rage Cage moments.
Yeah, but far from a good one, I would say.
Yeah, definitely one. I can see how people would appreciate watching this for weird Nicolas Cage vibes, because he has those.
Sure.
But it's not Rage Cage. That's maybe if they just used Rage Cage as a umbrella term for Nicolas Cage is weird.
Yeah.
Maybe then I can see it, because he is very weird in this one. But I know Rage Cage. This is not his best.
Oh, someone just had a quote from the movie. Cage shows a picture of his wife and daughter. Wife and daughter, you like? Franco Potente. Oh, beautiful. Cage. Oops, they're dead.
Yeah.
All right, in the beginning. He has though a lot of, especially in the beginning, a lot of strange deliveries.
Yeah.
But I think like the whole middle part, he's just boring. So yeah, the beginning there in the restroom, that's fun, I suppose. Then there is there's like a montage when he becomes more infatuated with the daughter than Franco Potente. And
is that what like when they dance in the water?
I can't really say that's like a good Rage Cage or weird Cage moment, but it is very funny. Like, what are they doing?
And it's the only part in the whole movie where they can act freely. They're like, oh, only dance. We can do whatever we want.
And then there was someone who mentioned like, oh, there's a great Rage Cage moment when he, spoilers, whatever, sets himself on fire in the end. I was like, okay, we're gonna have a great like freak out moment when he's on fire, because I think I read that as the movie was wrapping up because I was so bored of it.
What?
But then he sets himself on fire. And he doesn't do anything. There's no like, oh my god, I'm burning.
No,
he just lights a cigarette. That's it.
Isn't that supposed to be just that he's sort of at peace?
It's cool that he lights a cigarette and sets on fire, but it's not a cool Nicolas Cage moment. I think he is miscast in this movie. This shouldn't have been him. This should have been some rando. He doesn't look like, I mean, with the stubble and the long hair, maybe, but I don't see him as a down-on-his-luck trucker.
No, but I do like, they really made him look bad.
They made him look greasy, but...
Yeah, he's very greasy and bad-looking. It's like, when he says at the... when he gets to the house first time, and he says something about, I smell like I haven't showered in 3 days or something. And I like, yep, I see that.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'll 100% buy this. So I think that was pretty. They made him look pretty bad, which he was supposed to be. And to your point, it should have been someone else. This movie shouldn't have been made, so I can't even say that. Okay. It's like it's at least we have a few moments of fun throughout the movie since Nicolas Cage is here. So he was perfect for this movie. No one else could have done it better.
I guess.
Because this movie is terrible. There's nothing here.
No one could have done it better, but he didn't do it anyway.
Exactly, that's what I'm meaning.
There's no salvaging this movie.
No. I don't even think you can I don't think a rewriter to fix this.
No,
it has to be go back to idea form.
Yeah, exactly. This has to be completely rewritten. There's only the idea that's interesting, and that's still just interesting, not good interesting. Did you notice that the book that Nicolas Cage reads from is titled "Memories" by Nicolas Cage?
Yep.
That's funny.
That's apparently one of those surreal things that she put in to make it Lynchian.
Wow, how surreal!
There was a few things, but I don't. That was one. I don't remember what the other was. Let's see if I can.
It would have been better if it was a book that Nicolas Cage actually wrote, not a fake book. But I don't know if he has written a book. But that would have been.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's. I think there's also a lot of reference to other Nicolas Cage movies that they put in just for fun.
Yeah. I didn't recognize it myself, but I saw in the trivia that the line "We don't treat women like that" is supposed to be from Con Air, but he says it differently in this movie because he says, "In the South, we don't treat women like that," and then he beats the guy out in the bathroom.
Here was the thing I read. Between Worlds also uses experimental camera angles and editing techniques as well as aspects of metafiction. For example, breaking the fourth wall in a scene which Joe reads the book titled Memories by Nicolas Cage. The character Joe also seems to allude to a range of previous roles played by Cage, including Alabama native Cameron Poe from Con Air, snakeskin leather aficionado Sale Ripley from Lynch's Wild at Heart, and chain-smoking hobby arsonist Johnny Blaze from Ghost Riders. Thus
he's
pointing...
on fire?
Yeah. That he's on fire the same way as Ghost Rider. Thus pointing to the larger Nicolas Cage movie metaverse. Yeah. To be fair, this is not something she said. This is
someone else.
This is some guy who analyzes it. But yeah, yeah.
I honestly don't have much else to say about the movie. Should we just move on to reviews? Because there's not a lot.
No, there was something I wanted to bring up before, but I kind of forgot about it. So I guess it wasn't that important. Oh yeah. I wrote. There was a trivia I also read, which I don't believe. I staunchly don't believe it.
Okay.
That is, the player wrote the character Joe with Cage in mind and allowed the actor to improvise for many scenes. I don't believe that.
No.
I do believe the next section, which is including Joe and Billy/Mary's frolicsome water hose scene. Yes, I believe that one.
That can be, yeah.
But I don't believe that they were free to just improvise, because Nicolas Cage is better at improvising than this.
Yes. It would have been weirder and more fun if he was let off the rails.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was and he just didn't care, because he was like, what is this? What am I watching? Or what am I reading here? What am I doing?
Also, one question that I had... I had a lot of questions, but only one that I care to mention. Did you... Because I'm not going to watch it again. Did you pick up why they attacked the junkies?
To get their money.
To get their money?
Yeah, they knew that... Because they were dealing drugs. They knew that from the daughter's memories or whatever... I guess they're both kind of in her body. So because she was over there and she saw them have a bunch of money. That's it. Because that's the whole thing. We need money. We can run away together, but we need money. Okay. These guys have money.
Because I didn't get that at all. Because it didn't feel like they were. They didn't say, that I heard at least, anything like, get the money and get out of here. They didn't do any exposition on it. They just, we get in here, we beat him up, and then we leave. And it's like, why? So I was thinking if there was some witness or something that they knew something. Okay, but it was only money. Never mind.
It's just money. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Yes. Also, he was very good as drunk. He was very fun as a drunk.
Sure.
Good isn't. It was very overacting, but it was fun at the end.
Yeah.
Now we can go over to reviews.
He was fun in the end. So this has like we said, a 23 Metascore, generally unfavorable, but the Hollywood Reporter gave it a 4 out of 10, saying, veering heavily into sexual territory, the film is more a gothic melodrama than a horror film. Stretching it. It certainly feels like a waste of not only Cage's talent, although the actor has... Oh, here it is. Although the actor has a climactic, literally fiery scene that will forever change the way you think about the pop song Leader of the Pack. Like, no. That scene is nothing. Like, nothing.
And also, that is sort of what the song is about.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was not impactful for me at all.
No.
And then also Potenta, whose potential has been sadly underrealized. Yeah, exactly. Like, these are, at points in their career, very classy actors. And then they end up here? Oh. No. Another 4 out of 10 from Los Angeles Times. And the worst it got, it was from RogerEbert.com. It got 12. kind of odd number, 12. Between Worlds is also, unfortunately, a weird Twin Peaks homage, complete with industrial band Ogre's not-so-industrial Twin Peaksy score and Twin Peaks-like theme during the opening credits. Yeah, that's Angelo Badalamenti. So... yeah, I'm just going to go back to the Los Angeles Times, who gave it 4 out of 10. They say, the actor's fierce commitment turns Between Worlds into another solidly strange entry in the ever-expanding Nicolas Cage movie subgenre. I disagree. This felt very phoned in. Except for moments when it was fun. But overall, it was just like, no. But yeah, that's it, really. There was only 5 reviews.
There are a few reviews on IMDb.
Yeah.
162 to be exact.
Jesus, yeah.
So some people obviously saw this. I'm gonna start with a few 10s.
Oh, of course.
Apparently this one has 10, and these does not seem to be
ironic.
Not ironic, definitely not ironic, and not a simple. Just 10 out of 10. I liked it.
Oh, okay.
People actually thought about it, which again makes it even more confusing. So I have this one called 10 out of 10. Title: Cult Classic.
Okay.
Don't know what the negative reviews are about. First few minutes into the movie, and I was about to turn it off. I thought Nicolas Cage is a goner now, but luckily I continued watching, and it turned out to be a super entertaining, twisted, avant-garde, quirky black comedy with an eerie plot and stellar performance by all actors, especially Cage and the younger girl. But it's probably not for everyone, and def not for closed-minded people, or who get personally triggered by certain things in here, because Cage does get intimate with his girlfriend's daughter. Lol. But it's in line with the story. I seriously think Cage should win some award for this, and it's going to be a cult classic. I'll watch it a few times for sure. It's just a wild, fun ride.
Okay.
I mean, he obviously put thought into this review.
Yeah.
How could he be so wrong? How could everything he say was wrong?
Yeah. I mean, like we said, the idea has the makings of a The Room-esque movie. Yeah. It's just, it isn't in execution. And I think people just say well, the idea, it's funny, it's weird. But then it's actually it's badly made. That's the thing that people overlook. They overlook the actual, the craft of making the movie. Yeah. Just, the idea's fun. Yeah, okay.
So, there's another 10 out of 10 here. I don't agree, but I understand this one a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's cult classic. Intentionally? Maybe not. Whoever thought this would be a serious good film has not watched Nick Cage film in quite some time.
Yeah.
I knew what I was in for merely from the cover. If you don't like bad movies, this is not for you. This was by far one of the most entertaining films I have seen. Nick Cage at his best. The music is strangely out of place. The acting is outrageous and forced, and I loved it. I don't know if this was intentional, but it had me glued to the screen. It's not for everybody. And I can see I won't, because I've seen a lot better so bad that it's good movies. Mm-hmm. But I can see people think this is in that genre.
Yeah.
I don't agree, because there's a lot of other movies I'd choose before this one.
Yes, exactly.
But I get it. Excuse me. So, go to some of the more normal reviews, I think. So we have a 3 out of 10. Nick Cage is over the top, but not in a good way. It's been a while since I reviewed a movie, but this one had too many high fake reviews to not warn people off. I gave it 3 out of 10 because I compare all bad movies with the worst movie of all time, Wicker Man. So this gets a 3. The movie had a great premise that was executed in an incredibly bad way. I always pull for Nicolas Cage to get back to his former glory, but at this point, I've given up hope. Nick Cage plays down on his luck trucker driver who acts like he's trying to channel the spirit of Elvis Presley. I can't decide if this is a really bad supernatural thriller or a black comedy that's trying to get everyone's head. Trying to go everyone's head. Watch it if you will, you've been warned. If you have some time to kill on this, check out Wicker Man. If you have time to kill on this, check out Wicker Man. I'm still pissed about that movie and I want that time back. Yeah. So, there are obviously some delusional people, but again, it has like a 3.7. So it's... Everyone is agreed.
Yeah.
3.9 was it?
And on Letterboxd it has a 2.1 out of 5. So that's actually like a little bit better. I'm not gonna. There's a lot of reviews. I just want to read one because it's actually like a good review. It gives it 1.5 star. Says bad enough that this rather curious premise has been treated with all the dignity and craftsmanship of one of those murder reenactment shows on the ID network. Yeah. But then Cage has to come in and completely hijack the thing and undermine any attempt to be thoughtful. I mean, I'm not saying it's not kind of awesome that there's a montage of sex scenes wherein Nick's character is boning his girlfriend's daughter, who's possessed by the spirit of his dead wife, while he reads aloud from a book entitled Memories, authored by Nicolas Cage. But this isn't really the right movie for it. No, exactly. Very, very, very well said, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we can like wrap it up there. Really.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. There's not much to say. Don't watch it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, like you said, if you want to watch a really like fun Nicolas Cage performance, check out something like, I don't know if it's like any recent movies we talked about that has like good performances. But I think. Yeah.
We're talking about good performances or bad performances.
Like fun Rage Cage performances.
Oh.
I would say like check out and also like being a somewhat decent movie.
Dog Eat Dog.
Dog Eat Dog, definitely. Yeah, that's Lynchian to a certain extent. Yeah.
Army 1 is also a good performance.
I like Mom and Dad. His performance is good in that one. And one that I know you, maybe you did like it. I don't remember.
Who didn't like it?
Deadfall, if you want to watch like the greatest, well, one of the best Nicolas Cage performances.
Yeah.
He's only in half the movie though, so you can turn it off after he dies because it's kind of boring. But like that's where he's fun. Yeah. But this, no. Stay far away from it.
And also, I give it a 2, you give it a 3, Deadfall. So, I mean, it's nobody liked that movie.
No, it's a bad movie, but he is amazing in it. But, speaking of scores,
yes.
What would you score this movie, Between Worlds?
I'm going to give this one a 2.
And I'm giving it a strong 1.
Oof.
Yeah, there's very little here for me to enjoy, so yeah.
So
I don't know if we can give zeros, can we?
I mean, it's our list. We do whatever we want. I mean, so
this would be a candidate for a 0 in my opinion.
Are you saying this is worse than both Frozen Ground and Firebirds?
It's worse than Firebirds. It's on the same level as Frozen Ground. So yeah, okay, a 1. I'll give it a 1.
Yeah.
Because that movie's awful.
Yeah, well, that was my question. Because when we do this really high scores, really low scores, we have to compare it with the others we have.
That's true.
So you have, I think you have 2 1s. No, we don't.
I have 2 recent Frozen Ground from 2013 and Unthinkable/Inconceivable.
Right, yeah, because you gave Firebirds 2, not 1.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Unthinkable and Inconceivable. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, this almost bumps that up to a 2 now.
Yeah.
But I
told you were too mean to that movie.
I know. But I'll leave it at a 1 for now. We might do some. We usually do some changes at the end of the podcast. But for now, it's a 1. But yeah, I think those are my only ones. Yeah,
it's the only ones.
And you don't have any ones, I think.
I don't think so. No, wait. I think I have one.
One?
No, I don't have any ones.
You're too nice.
No, I have just seen a lot of bad movies.
I guess. Yeah.
There's one for me is like a movie that I have to will myself not to turn it off, and that has not happened yet.
Okay.
I'll watch through the movies without any issues. I'll hate it throughout, but I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So that was Between Worlds.
Yeah.
That's the fourth movie released 2018.
Yeah, and the last one for 2018.
Yeah, and this is the last one. So next we're gonna go over to 2019, where he released how many movies? 6 movies.
6 movies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies.
Starting with A Score to Settle. Another one I've never heard of. Let me look it up.
So I read the synopsis for it.
Oh?
It could be real fun or real bad. It is an ex-enforcer for a local crime syndicate has vowed to enact retribution on his mob bosses after 19 years of wrongful imprisonment.
Oh, I mean, the only thing diverting his violent plans is a newfound relationship to his beloved son.
So it could be a cool back to action hero Cage thing. But it could also be it could be like, what was that movie called? Hate? No?
Rage? Tokarev?
Rage! Tokarev, yeah Tokarev.
Oh, yeah.
It could be like Tokarev, so we'll see.
The Metascore is higher than they have been in a while now. It's at 37. Mm-hmm. That's not saying a lot, though, because it's still a 37, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna, get my hopes up, though. Not after the last few episodes.
At least we can have something happening. It feels like we have a lot of new movies with nothing happening.
That's true.
Where it's just, well, I guess things were happening in Bad Heist. I guess.
I guess. Well, yeah, that did have a cool action scene. It
had a cool action. Yeah, sure.
Wow, that's kind of funny though. The tagline for this is "Revenge is coming." Mm-hmm. And of course the tagline for Between Worlds was it had 2 different taglines on IMDb. It was, I read it. I can't remember it. It was, all right, there's a fine line between pleasure and pain, or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But then Between Worlds on Hello, Letterboxd has the tagline "Vengeance is born in hell," which makes no sense really. But it's second movie in a row which has vengeance in the tagline. But also I would say then, if you're going to do some sort of vengeance tagline for Between Worlds, I would say "Vengeance is coming" would have worked better for Between Worlds. Because whatever, the sex things, whatever.
Yeah,
it was
fine.
far-fetched joke. I know.
Are we done now?
I got to workshop that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, we're done now. Sorry.
It's that joke was sort of like the movie Between Worlds.
Yeah,
it was a good idea.
Good idea. You just performed it terribly. Yeah. Timing was off. Pacing. Everything was off.
Everything.
Yeah.
Acting.
Anyway, so if you want to follow along next week, check out the 2019 Sean Koo directed A Score to Settle, starring, of course, Nicolas Cage. And like we said in the beginning, if you want to support the show beyond just subscribing or whatever, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. And we'll be back next week. But until then, have a good one. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Madness in the Method is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is produced and directed by Tobias Vedén and hosted by Tobias Vedén and Christopher Billin. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. A huge shout out goes to all our patrons on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Mom, Dad, Laura Kinney, Danny Del Gaiso, Christopher Billin, Mac and Mom, and Sika85.